I'm just go ahead and kick it off. Everybody tonight, we're going to do Chevy Novas 7374 Zoom meeting. This will be our first one that we're going to be doing with another member. And what we're going to do tonight is check out Lou's 1974 Chevy Nova. And from what I understand, has been in his family for a few decades. We'll just say that. And I don't want to steal too much thunder here. So, Lou, I'm just going to go ahead and let you take it away and tell us what you got under that sweet cherry red paint over there, man. What you got going on?
All right. So my name is Lou, and I live in Cleveland, Ohio. And 20 years ago, I found a really nice Survivor of the 70s. And this is the car I ended up buying. Looked at a lot of cars, and it's just one of those things when you see the car, it kind of hits you.
Yeah.
So, I looked at Trans Ams, looked at Chevelles, and this is the one I found. But this was not my first Nova. In high school, I had a 79 Nova. That was my dad's. But
Nice.
by the time I got it, it was used, rusted out, but I drove it, and I love the car. And somehow I knew that I would want to find another Nova. And after that one, I actually had a 78 Nova that I drove through college. Had a 6-cylinder, 3 in the tree.
Oh.
And again, it was, because it was in Ohio, it was rusted out. But that 6-cylinder, that 3 speeds automatic, not automatic, it was manual transmission. Couldn't kill it. And drove that through college. And it was right around that time when I found this one. So this originally had a 6-cylinder, 3-speed automatic. And shortly after I bought it, I put in a 305 that came out of 78 Nova. So again, that was my, another Nova I came across. And, I know people don't like the 305s just because of their smog nature, but, once you hop them up, they do run. Oh, and yeah. for a long time, that 305 was in the heart of this Nova and had a lot of fun with it. But here we are 20 years later, that engine was tired. So right now I have a 350 that I put in with my son, a couple of years ago. And that's what I have in the engine now.
Nice.
Paired with it's paired with a turbo 350 transmission. It still has the stock rear end that originally came with the car. Now I did swap out the center diff with a posi, so it does have posi, and it's a fun little car that I enjoy driving.
What gear ratio do you have in the back of there, Lou?
308.
Nice. That's still a good gear ratio. I mean, yeah. Even for cruising highway, that's good.
Well, that's what I wanted. I wanted something that I could still drive, but with the the power that the engine's putting out. I can still do nice burnouts and have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, especially with that posi, and had that thing going on. So tell us about how have you noticed a good difference in the new head setup?
Well, the AFR heads, had I known that they would have been this good, I would have put these heads on a long time ago.
Yeah.
Nice. Originally with the car, I had the Vortec heads, which were really good. A lot of great low end torque. But once I put on these AFR heads, it was just night and day.
Yeah. Big difference. That's nice. And what about what kind of exhaust you got running up under there?
So right now it's just 2.5-inch tube right off the headers. So it's open.
Straight pipe.
Straight pipe.
I bet that sounds good, man.
I love it. I don't know about I don't know about my neighbors.
Well, I mean, hey, I came home the other night from a cruise and did a little burnout in front of the shop here. And my neighbor texted me and said, hey, I was expecting a little bit of a longer burnout. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if the other neighbors would appreciate it too much. But, I mean, we don't buy these cars to get them for gas mileage or for anything like that. We get them to play with, That's right. A nice looking engine you got there, man. I mean, small blocks are great motors. They really are. Oh, I was going to say, what kind of brakes are you running on? Do you have disc brakes on the front yet, or are you still running drums?
No, I've got disc brakes. And for anybody that hasn't heard my story, I was coming home from work on the highway, doing about 65, 70. All of a sudden, traffic just comes to a complete stop.
Oh,
And so when I first hit the brakes, no problem, from 65 to 40, it slowed down. But then from what they hit about 40 miles an hour, that's when brake fade started hitting in.
uh-oh.
And I saw the car, in front of me, car start creeping in. Like, I'm not going to stop. So I grabbed the steering wheel, both feet on the pedal. I was like, "Dear God, please stop."
Just got everything on it to try to stop
Right.
it, huh?
So after that, I was like, "These drum brakes have to go."
Yeah.
So anytime I hear anybody with still running drum brakes up front, please change them.
Dave.
Please change them.
I see you down there,
Don't
Dave.
go through with what I went through.
Well, we did like on mine, I did the 4-wheel disc brake kit along with the Pro Touring suspension kit from CPP at the same time. Then we built the transmission, and then we put the 383 in. So I kind of sort of went backwards. I knew I was going to have something along the lines of 400 to 500 horsepower. So I know I needed to stop it. And there's still a little bit of debate whether or not, 4-wheel disc brakes better. I mean, you can still stop the car with front disc brakes and rear drums in the back. You don't have to have 4-wheel disc brakes to be able to stop the car, especially if you're not running, like a turbo setup or anything with boost or anything like that. Small block, big block, you definitely want to try to put some disc brakes on the front of that vehicle so you can get it to stop, like you said, because you never know what's going to happen, whether it be wildlife, traffic, or of course someone else pulling out in front of you, which we all know these days that happens quite often. Yep, Dave, you've been there, human aspect, huh?
Yeah, I took that pedestrian out pretty good.
Yeah. I remember seeing the pictures of that, man. That didn't look like it was too much fun. I'm sure it probably scared the tar out of you. That's funny. So let me ask you, Lou, what all does you and your son do on this car? You mentioned you had some kids earlier. What is your 13-year-old, your oldest?
So he's the one that actually helped me drop the engine in the car. And I'll have to shoot you guys a picture later. I don't know, every now and then when I'm, out here, just kind of putzing around, my oldest son will kind of help me and just see what I'm up to.
Nice.
So I'm always happy with trying to show him, show him what I'm working on. So the topic of front seats come in every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
These are the seats I got out of a 94 Mustang. Buddy of mine, a buddy of mine from school had these. He put Recaros in his Mustang, and then he sold me the seats. And, for the look of the car, for the comfort that I was looking for, these were perfect.
I mean, they look great in there. They match the interior, and honestly, they look like they belong. You know what I mean? I know they come out of a Ford.
Yeah.
And we can see in Dave's garage, he's got the Fox body sitting there. But
Yep.
I mean, a lie. I love Fox body Mustangs. My recruiter, he let me drive his 5.0 93 Fox body when we were going to like a pull-up competition. I remember that. And he said he remembers looking out the mirror of the recruiter's van and seeing his car sideways and, oh, there goes my boy, just ripping it. But I mean, they're great cars to have, but those seats look like they fit in there nicely, dude. Do they handle you pretty good when you're going around corners and stuff?
Oh, they're perfect. Love them.
So what gauges do you have up there on the pillar? I see you got some gauges there.
Yeah. So, funny story is, I think it was on Chevy Novas site. I found a guy that made the fiberglass pillar holder for the gauges because nobody really makes one aftermarket. So the bottom gauge I have here is water temperature, oil pressure, and the top one's tachometer.
Perfect. You can't beat that. I mean, that's right there within eye line sight and everything.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people that are looking for stuff, Steve's Novas site has been around for a long time, and they have a plethora of information. I mean, more than probably all of our members combined, because I think that site's been around for gosh, probably 20 some odd years. Dave, you can probably back me up on that one. I'm not sure exactly the amount of years, but
Yeah, between Steve's Nova site and novaresource.org with Scott Windle, those are probably the two pioneers, the originators of the website era and the forum era.
yeah, absolutely. It's a great asset. They certainly have a lot of good stuff and everything. David had a question. Go ahead and speak up, David. You mentioned something about oil pressure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering, is that oil pressure gauge, is it electric or is it mechanical since you got it in the pillar there?
It's electrical.
Okay.
Gotcha. So it eliminates the need to run that oil line up to the gauge. That's
Exactly.
kind of
So what I did when I put these gauges in, I kind of anticipated where my operating, points would be. So for example, like the water gauge, I have 190 pointing straight up. With the oil gauge, 50 psi oil pressure is straight up. And then with the tachometer, I have 5,500, which is normally where I shift at. Maybe if I'm feeling a little happy, I'll let it slip up to 6. But that's straight up. That way, when, as I'm going down the track or down the street, I take a quick glance, and as long as all needles are pointing straight up, I know I'm having a good day.
That's a good idea to set it like that for your peripherals. You don't have to look directly at the gauge and everything like that. That's a good idea. Real smart. Yeah, real smart. Even Dave said so as well. I like that idea. That's good. Like with me, I have the old, I believe they're out of a Camaro, and they're in front of my shifter. So I have like my battery, my temp gauge, my fuel gauge, and my oil pressure gauge are all down in the center right there, like the Camaro used to have in front of the shifter, just under the dash. And I always found myself, looking down, and that little split second could be, like what happened with Dave. Somebody can jump out in front of you, or a car can pull out, but having it right there within that line of sight is really smart. I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of what was the game plan was when I built the car, is have something that's really easy to drive and something where I could tell all the vitals of the car within a split second.
Nice. So let me ask you this: what future plans do you have with the car? I mean, are you kind of happy with where it's at? Are you content? Or are you looking at kind of some other stuff, or what?
No, I'm never happy. You know what? The engine is finally to the point where I love it. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm a pretty quiet, reserved guy. So everybody that walks in my garage that doesn't know me sees the car. It's obviously bright fire engine red. It's loud. It's obnoxious. And you know what? When I can do a burnout, I'll lay some smoke. So the engine really does what I want it to now. Going forward, I think probably next year I want to put in a 700 R4 transmission. Again, just to increase the drivability. And with the overdrive, then I can finally do some rear end gears. Go to a 373 or something like that. And
you said you have a turbo 350. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, turbo 350.
So I had the same thing in mind, and it was a tired crate 350 motor when I first got the car, and then we put the 700 R4 with overdrive, and I can't shift with my left leg because I have a busted ruptured Achilles. So we put a B&M shift kit in it, or we put a shift kit and a B&M shifter in it, so I could take it out of overdrive and I could slap shift it like it's a 3-speed, or 3.5 if you count overdrive. But then I went from the 390, this is what the guy claimed was in there before, and I put 410 posi in the back of it with that 8.5 rear end. And it holds really well. I put some Mickey Thompson 255s on it. And it's real sticky with those tires. It don't pull the front end up on the street or anything, but it certainly transfers that weight back and plants the rear end of the car. So I did notice on one of the posts, someone asked you about your tire sizes. So what size tires do you have up front, and what size tires do you have out back?
Great question. So I run 15-inch rims.
Okay.
And let's see, these are 205 50-15s. And I used to have these both front and back, but then I had a flat a couple years ago, And oddly enough, they don't make that tire size anymore. So now in the rear, I have 205 60/15s.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit more, got a little bit more sidewall back there in the back with that 60. That's good. So
Right.
those are 15 by 7s.
15 by 7s, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And I don't have any suspension mods front or rear. And I probably could squeeze a little wider tire in, but this fits on my stock car at least. These fit comfortably.
But I like that stance you got, man. That looks really nice. Now, have you considered putting anything as far as suspension, coilovers, or any type of kit like that on the front end of it?
Yeah, my future plans for the rear is to take the shocks, mount them inboard, put on new leaf springs where I can go with the 2-inch lift in the back, just try to get that rear end raised up a little bit.
Yeah. Now, there also are availabilities for adjustable billet shackles. Now, I know a lot of people probably don't like those because there might be some side-to-side play with that. But in my experience, I haven't had any issues out of mine, and I've had those on there for going on 8 years now. I've had on the back of my car, and it's adjustable. So, I mean, you can get anywhere from 3 to 4 inches out of that, I believe, up or down. So right now I've got it at the second hole, which ends up putting me with about 1.5 inches of tire tuck in the back. So I can jack the front up, but if I do, I need to start worrying about pinion angle and stuff like that. So that's one thing you'll have to look at when you go to a 700 R4 also, is you have to shorten that drive shaft, possibly change out the cross member. I don't, Dave probably can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but the cross member and shorten the drive shaft when you go to that 700 R4. But let me tell you something, man, it is totally worth it in my opinion, because although that turbo 350 is great for light to light and drag racing and stuff like that, if you want street ability and you can still have that low gear to play with, that 700 R4, you really can't go wrong with, because they can be built up to 600 plus horsepower.
So on the screen right now, I got my radio. I don't know, I'm changing subjects. Dave, did you have any more to add?
No, go ahead.
I just put some tunes in the car like last year. This is a radio from Retro Sounds. One thing I liked about it was I can still keep that classic look, but still get some modern, modern electronics in here.
So is that
that's worked out well.
Auxiliary plug?
This one is not Bluetooth, but I do have the auxiliary plug in it.
Nice. Well, sometimes that's better than Bluetooth, because in my car, I have a full system set up in my car. And Dave, we got a question from Dave. Did you install I missed that. What was that, Dave?
So he asked about the dual channel speaker.
Yeah.
That's in the plan too. Right now I have a split that popped up on me last year in my dashboard. Yep. So I'm going to at some point take the dash out, and then at that point I'll put in a dual speaker up there.
Nice. So I have these right here. These are 90-watt Kenwoods, and there's 2 of them. One's on the hookup, and I got it on the shelf over there, and this one rattled out. As you can see, one of the edges are bent. Where's it at? I probably bent it back in place. But one of the edges were bent, and it actually fell out. But, I mean, with the magnet size on the back, this thing's going to pump out some good music out of the front of that dash. But I have tweeters in the door. I have 4-inch speakers in the door, as well as 6x9s in the back dash. And then also a 12-inch sub in the back, too. So when I Bluetooth, the 12-inch sub doesn't work. So sometimes the auxiliary cable's better. But, yeah, definitely you can pick Tim Bourne. You need to get a hold of him. That boy has got some knowledge. He is Nova smart. So anytime you have a question and you want to reach out, and this goes for anybody, not just Lou, reach out to Tim Bourne. He is a freaking knowledge machine when it comes to Nova. He redid his high school car that was stolen. He actually just redid that thing from like bumper to bumper, bolt to bolt. I mean, completely everything has been refurbished on that car, and it is a showstopper.
That's the Novocaine, right?
Yes, the Novocaine. Yep, the
Yep.
black one.
Yep.
Got the what does he got? Yeah, he's got the twin stacks on it, or the velocities. What are they called?
Oh yeah,
Can't think.
velocity stacks.
Yeah, the velocity stacks on there, and he's got that car clean, man. It looks so beautiful. I mean, it's probably the newest Nova between like the 74 is the newest Nova, I would venture to say, in America. Because he just rolled that thing off the dang assembly line, so to say. Yeah, there it is. That thing is gorgeous. And he actually handmade that grill from aluminum pipe tubing, which is a big hit among a lot of people from what I've seen anyway. Yeah, that grill is clean. You're right, David. It is. I like it. A lot of people like that. I've been seeing a lot of people compliment him on that grill.
So what I still have the stock grill on mine.
Yep.
I know some people have been changing out the turn signal lights for the clear.
Right.
You know, because and just because of my orange car, I still have the orange turn signal lights.
I still have mine as well. And honestly, I was thinking about changing them. I like Dave's look like a lot. And I know I apologize. I can't remember the member's name that just did it, but I really like the amber look because with my car as well, like I know yours kind of blends in a little bit. Mine pops because I have the black SS grill on it. It's the blacked out front grill. So that amber pops a little bit more with that metallic blue that I have. And I just like the look of it. It reminds me of the old school type deal, you know, and I think I'm going to stick with it for now until I find an extra set of lenses and, you know, get off my lazy butt and I guess do the process. But it doesn't seem like.
I think, Will, until you try a pair of clear lenses on your car and you sit back and you look at it, because I was the same way. I like the amber look too and that, but I put those clear ones in and it took a little while to grow on me. And now, absolutely love it. Unless you have an orange car, absolutely love it.
So what else you want to tell us, Lou? What else you got going on in there, man? You want to throw a blower on that small block one day or what?
You know, I just watched Engine Masters where they they put nitrous on a 305. So maybe a little nitrous plate, just a little, a little go juice in there.
Yeah, I mean, literally all you have to do is just change the piston, the gaps on the rings, and you'll be good to go, man. Like you can throw. I don't know what you'd be comfortable with throwing at it. Probably 100 shot, maybe a 150 shot, because I know that. Yeah, the heads will take it. What intake do you have on the car?
So this is a Wyand intake.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's clean. Wyand's always been a really good product. I mean, hell, they make superchargers and everything for superchargers, so they're a really great intake. Great product. I gotta say, I like that black stripe you got down the side. On mine, all the decals are off. The door handles are shaved. It's just smooth all the way across. So that way you can really get the glimpse of the paint and all that. But I gotta say, I really like that. Are you planning on keeping that on there? Or are you gonna clean them off? Or are you gonna keep your emblems and stuff?
So here's what my feeling is on, especially since we have a unique set of cars. I still have the front bumper stuck out. Obviously I have a lot of the stock trim. I know a lot of people are shaving off the drip edge. I still have mine. So I want this car to look, representative of what it looked like back in 1974.
Now, I also noticed you don't have the trim on your car as well. Are you going to keep that red on there like that? I know the drip edge is off, but what about around the windows? Are you going to keep that red on there?
So since I've had the car, it's always been painted. Maybe at some point, and I've been looking around for a little while, trying to find a nice used set of aluminum trim. So that's definitely something that's in the works.
Nice. Okay, so I see the front bumper is not tucked. What about the rear?
Funny story.
Let me
These
let me switch.
questions loaded, ladies and gentlemen.
Right now, the rear bumper is tucked. And what happened was 2 years ago, I got rear-ended, and it pushed in the bumper shocks. The rear filler got destroyed, and at that point, I was like, all right, I'll just take the insurance money and just buy new parts. Well, nobody makes a rear filler for these cars. Nobody makes the rear bumper shocks anymore.
Yeah.
And so what I've done is, through the help of Chevy Nova 73 74 on Facebook, somebody out west sent me a new set of bumper shocks. Found somebody else that gave me a rear filler, which is hanging in my garage. So at some point I'll get all this stuff painted and I'll put the car back the way it was. But for now, I'll enjoy the tucked look.
Yeah, kind of half and half. You can appease to everybody.
Right.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. When I got mine, mine was already tucked. I got to say that mine was already tucked and everything, and then the front was tucked as well. So I just left it as is. I didn't really change because, like you said, I mean, it's hard to find those pieces because everybody they want to tuck that bumper or they do the front clip conversion, which we have a few members of the group that like to stay, I guess, original to what the car used to be. But then again, a lot of members want to tuck the bumper or they want to go ahead and put the new clip on the front. But I'll be honest with you, when I first got my car, I was considering putting the new clip on it, but I really love the way the front end looks on our cars, and I'm going to keep it that way. What was that question I saw pop up? Was that David? What was that?
I was just mentioning that they do make the rear bumper fillers now, I believe, for the 74. So you'd have to trim it a little for 73. I think all the major part sites do carry it now. And I just want to say, boo to bumper tucks and front end swaps.
Like I say, we got some. I mean, nobody like the purist, right? But hey, whatever makes you happy, you know what I mean?
As far as the rear goes, they do make a fiberglass filler, but I bought it and I was not happy with it. So I sent it back and I tried to find somebody that has a urethane bumper filler. So that's what
didn't you up about that a while back about something not fitting? I think it was with the rear. Yeah, I thought I saw that post a while back. It came white, didn't it, or cream or something like that?
Right, it was white.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. Yeah. So what else you got for us, Lou?
That's about it. That's pretty much my story. Quickest time on the Nova so far on the drag strip, 14.0, 98 miles an hour. So that was before the AFR heads.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to another trip and be solidly in the 13s.
I think so too, especially once you get that tranny and then your rear end gear change. I think you'll be able to you'll be on the toes of Super Dave over there.
Yeah, I remember those days when my car ran at the track.
You talk like it was so long ago.
Hey, if you'll get there, you'll get there.
Almost a month. I got my souvenirs back.
Oh boy, look at that. That thing is burnt.
Oh, it's beyond burnt. Like it's melted. See, the whole lip is gone up there, and
looks like
no cylinder wall damage.
You know what? The block is perfect.
Nice.
That's good.
I didn't even have to board another 10 over. Like the block is bored 30 over already. It didn't even have to. In fact, I got some pictures. I got to post an update for everybody. The heads did take a little bit of damage. They've been shaven down 14 thou, so they're now 62 cc. It's cleaned most of it up, but there's just a little bit of pitting here and there. But again, I'll post pictures for everybody. But I'll have a surprise for everybody in the spring. That's all I can say.
Can't wait to see it, man. And I know
12s is a thing of the past.
Hey, that's the way you got to look at it, man. You just got to move forward and look forward to what your plans are and what you're going to do with it.
It was an expensive lesson on tuning, timing, high compression, and types of fuel to run. It's definitely something that I will pay a lot more attention to in the future, and hopefully I can save somebody else $8,000.
Yeah, no kidding. I know that oil pickup, when it fell out of the motor and it came from jegs without being tack welded, that's what blew my mind. It wasn't even a bolt-in oil pickup. It was just a press-in type. And man, that was $3,200 for the rebuild after new cam, new rods, guides, rockers, all that stuff. It was just, time and labor. But hey, those are the lessons we pay for to play. You got to pay to play.
Yeah, I always learn things the expensive way.
Yeah, it's a darn shame. But
I just paid $4,500 for some parts for my motor, and after exchange, that came to 6,100 Canadian. So that's how much of a bath we take on the exchange rate up here in Canada.
Wow.
And
yeah,
I'm surprised I'm actually sitting, but it's been 2 days since I made the purchase. I'm able to sit now.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, just find one of us with a truck and a passport and, send us money. We'll get to the parts and drive them up to you,
Well,
right.
the shipping is only $300, but it was the conversion of the $4,500 of the main bill that it's that economy. That's how it works, right?
That exchange rate it'll get you, man. That's for sure.
When I built the original the 406 in 2012, that's when the exchange was at par, and I spent $8,000 on that motor. So, yeah, it definitely hurts this time.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I know. I've been taking it a lot easier. Well, I say that, but I opened her up on the way to the cruise the other night. I can't lie, but I certainly don't hold it down as much as I used to anymore. Like as long as I used to, you know what I mean? I'll give it a little bit of gas and then let off, because with the new cam, man, she sucks fuel like no other now. She just drinks it right up. Even with the 21-gallon tank I put in it a few years back, she just sucked it right down like it's her job, Speaking of which, do you have anything as far as were you considering, Lou, going to fuel injection, or are you going to stay carburetor?
I see a lot of people doing the Poly Sniper, and that really makes me think sometimes. Maybe down the road, but right now I'll say carbureted.
It is so worth the money. I bet you the money I've saved in gas the last 3 years has paid for my sniper system.
Well, it's not just gas. If it improves the drivability, I'll do it.
Drivability, mileage, ease of tuning, ease of playing at the track, like to change your time in a couple of degrees or to change the jetting in your carb. You could do it with the press of 3 buttons. But for me,
and blown up your motor, Dave.
I really noticed the drivability aspect of it was so easy to start. I wasn't dying to breathe in my garage of it flooding. It wasn't fouling spark plugs anymore. Just it was so nice to turn key and go.
Nice.
Yeah, those cold starts with that sniper are pretty nice. You just get in and drive off.
Well, you guys saw the video I made in April when I did the spring fire up, which is on the Chevy Nova YouTube channel. You can see how quickly my car started up after sitting for 6 months.
Yeah, it certainly does that, throttle response and everything. And even Sarah just said she gets pretty decent gas mileage with a 383 in her son's car and everything. So, I mean, I had it on a 468 big block in my sand car, and I went from an 850 double pumper. Even with an off-road conversion, going through those bowls in the sand dune, it would still bog out and I'd vapor lock. So we ended up going with the Holley Terminator EFI, and I'm pretty sure now they do the same thing with, the Phytech and all that. Do they self-tune at a certain temperature? Because at 160, that Holley would go ahead and self-tune itself depending upon what, the temperature, and that's pretty much it. It would just go ahead and self-tune. And Throttle response was amazing. You know, you weren't sitting there jamming the gas pedal for 5 minutes trying to get it to start on a cold day, because I have the choke locked out on my car. So vacuum advance plugged off. You know, it's all, everything on mine's mechanical, old school, you know, nothing special. No, the only wiring and big deal I have in here is the MSD. I think it's the 6A L2. So it's got like the rev limiter and the 2-step and all that junk to it. What I really only use is just the rev limiter, so I don't blow it out the top end or anything. But yeah, I've been considering switching over to an EFI as well, because I loved that you can just get on that little deal and just bleep, 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 and then choose what
you can blow the motor with 4 touches of the screen.
Yeah. Prime
Super
example.
Dave proven.
Yeah.
So the one thing I like about the Holley stuff, I picked up one of those digital dashes that just plugs right into my Terminator system, and it gives you mile per hour, it gives you tack. You can put your fuel gauge on there, oil pressure, water temp, all that stuff, and just go about your business. So it was a little pricey, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it.
Charles
If I
said,
could find it a little cheaper and the exchange rate wasn't so bad, I would seriously consider putting one on my Omega.
Yeah, $700 was kind of steep for it, but you get a couple extra dollars tacked on your bill.
yeah.
Yeah,
That-
I think when I put it on 3 years ago, I was about $2,500 for the master kit and a new fuel tank and sending unit, because I wasn't going to weld a return line in a 40-year-old gas tank.
Yeah, mine was 21 with the Holley fuel gauge or the fuel pressure regulator. It came with the fuel pump, fuel filter, basically everything you needed. I had AN fittings and stuff like that to throw on there. So it worked out really great. But I mean, they're pricey, but like you say, I mean, I'm getting probably 4 miles a gallon when my foot's in it, and 7 whenever I'm cruising downhill in neutral. So
Right.
the mileage itself is definitely worth it, you know, in the long run, as long as you keep that timing below 38.
Oh, no. Keep it lower than that. That was 38.
32.
We're not running a little
32.
12 to 1 like you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, 38 Canadian.
38 Canadian. I like it. That's awesome. Well, does anybody got any more questions for Lou? I think we're coming up on about an hour right now.
Lou,
But,
we need a video of that car running. I want to hear the straight pipes. We need some video of you racing, and we also need a walk around or pictures, you know, like 12 points around the car. I want to see that beautiful car up there so we can use you as a cover picture again.
in the
Hey, do you guys want to? Do you guys want to hear it now?
yeah, fire it up, man.
Sure.
Oh,
10 o'clock.
time to make the neighbors mad. All right.
Right.
Hey, you don't have to ask me twice.
Not my neighbors.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, Mustang can fire up, right?
Yeah, it's 10 p.m., so this is going to be real fun right now.
I think he should upgrade his mirrors to those sport mirrors and send me those chrome ones, because I need a new one.
All right. He's teasing us a little bit with it.
Yeah, that kind of muffled my speakers. We need a video. We need a video of it.
Yep. So I propose just doing a walk around video after you fire it up and let it run for a little bit, so we can hear that thing cam out and see how it really sounds.
Sounds good.
Yeah, for sure. I know that. I mean, I can imagine the neighbors are your best friends when you fire it off like that. I mean, it's like probably about 10 o'clock over there or something.
It is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a neighbor down the street that has a Willys with a big block, and he's a little more of a favorite of the neighbor than me. So but he's like down the street, and I can hear it when he fires it up.
It's always good to have somebody else attract the attention.
Let me see.
That's right.
If I can show, like, so my closest neighbor, you can see behind me is just bushes, but my closest neighbor is literally like about 10 acres that way. And then the other ones are up on the hill up there. I don't know if you can see their high. I got so many damn bushes, daggone bushes. but they're just past the flag, but up the hill a little bit. And they can hear it when I fire it off and back it out and not even playing. And I've got dual 40s on it at 2.5-inch exhaust. So let me ask you, what headers are you? I remember you were saying you had some issues with your headers before. Were you ever able to make them work, or did you have to supplement them with something else, Lou?
So the issue I had with the Patriot headers was that it was hitting the stock trans linkage.
Okay.
So I got that out of the way, and it was actually a good thing because the stock linkage was all worn out. It had just a ton of play in it. So linkage I ended up getting was from Locar. They sell a real nice kit that I was able to just with a straight shaft. Maybe I can try to show it real quick. From the steering column down to the tranny. Yeah, it's real hard to see. I'll try to get a good picture in the morning, but it actually worked out real well.
It looks like this.
And the Patriot headers. It looks like. Yep, that's exactly it.
This is my spare one for the Omega.
Yeah, I just put that same kit on mine. And I think I asked Dave before if he had to make any bends to his, and he said no. But in my case, I had to make I think I measured down like 12 inches and then had to do like a 30-degree bend. So no big deal.
I ended up putting like a Z bend in mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that might be too, Dave, because you're running an LS and a 4L something, isn't it?
Yeah, the 4L 6700 thing.
Okay.
So
yeah, I didn't have to.
I mean that bottom Heim joint just wouldn't fold over enough to go straight, so I had to put a slight bend into it.
Well, they give you lots of room for bending to the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, it's a nice kit.
I was impressed at how easy it went in mine when I did it.
Nice. That's good to hear. That's certainly good to hear. Well, like I say, I mean, Lou, you've been on the site for long enough, but gonna be watching this that don't know. We have a ton of people that are full of knowledge. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. That's what we're here for. I don't know everything. I'm not gonna pretend like I do. I know some stuff, probably just enough to get myself in trouble with my car. But we certainly have members on here that are well versed when it comes to Novas, especially our Novas, because they've owned them like Lou himself, 20 plus years. And they've basically seen it all or done it all when it comes to doing anything as far as engine change, transmission, rear end, suspension, brakes, all that good stuff. And even John went ahead and, he turned his car into a completely, I mean, you wouldn't know it was a 73 unless you saw the pictures prior to, because now he's got the entire body looking like a pre-72. So, which good on him. I mean, that's pure workmanship right there. A lot of people won't even change out their freaking headlights, much less do the work you did on that thing. So good job for that, for sure. And I'm a little envious of that turbo he's got stuck under the hood. I'll say that for sure. Because I certainly need to get some boost in my life when it comes to this Nova. But yeah, good video, guys. Sarah, Charles, Dave, Super Dave, Lou, especially. I really appreciate you guys coming on tonight. And hopefully we can make this, maybe we can make this thing happen every other week, weekly, whatever turns out. I really appreciate it. Lou, like I say, thanks so much for showing your car tonight. I mean, it looks great. Beautiful car. I mean, it is immaculate in my eyes. I love that. I love that look. It looks great. I would say stick with it and just follow where your heart takes you, man. I mean, there's nothing like having, what you see as being your dream car and following through. And that's what we always preach on this side is, just always stick to what you want to do with your car. Everybody's got an opinion, but what matters the most is how you, the owner, wants it to look in the long run. And that's really all that matters at the end of the day. If it makes you smile, that's what counts.
Definitely.
All right, Charles. I appreciate you tuning in. Good, sir. All right, man. Everybody, y'all have a good night, okay?
Good night.
Night.
Night, Sarah. Night, Charles.
Night, Sarah. Night, Charles. See you guys later on.